I just see me coming out victorious, just me going out there being me, being who I am, not letting, Tank frantics, none of his little distractions that he try to throw fighters off with, not letting none of them get to me, and, just going out there and being who I am.
Davis has just reacted to Frank Martin doing training with Floyd Mayweather recently. Errol Spence Jr. has also chimed in, sharing his insights on the direction the upcoming fight might take. Spence expressed his belief that Frank Martin would emerge victorious, stating that he considers Martin to be the most skilled and talented fighter Tank has ever faced. He mentioned that Martin is not someone who can afford to take the early rounds lightly, hoping for a knockout in the later rounds. Instead, Spence predicted that Martin would dominate from the 1st to the 12th round and win the fight.
See him getting his hand raised. I mean, I feel like he's the most skilled, talented fighter that Tank ever fought. Like, it's one of those he can't take those early rounds off and feel like he's gonna come in the 7, 8 round and hope for a knockout. I feel like Frank gonna dominate him 1st through 12th round and win a fight. I mean, Tank gonna put up a fight. He's a great fighter, but I feel like Frank definitely gonna take it. I feel like he's the best fighter he can fight. He gonna see the speed. He gonna see the strength. He gonna see the power that Frank brings to the table come fight night.
Spence Jr. acknowledged that Gervonta Davis, being a skilled fighter, might put up a strong fight. However, he believed Davis would ultimately succumb to Frank Martin. The Detroit-born southpaw's speed and power, Spence Jr. asserted, would overwhelm the lightweight champion. Unsurprisingly, Davis responded to the former world champion's comments with a laugh. Gervonta Davis tweeted, "Get your money, champ." Moreover, Spence's response quickly encountered its critics. Leonard Ellerby, amidst the ongoing intense conflict between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Tank, Davis holds one firm belief, aiming a jab at Spence Jr. The CEO of Mayweather Promotions confidently declared that the lightweight champion is here to stay. The former unified welterweight champion wasn't about to let this pass unnoticed, clearly refusing to buy Leonard Ellerby's post. Errol Spence said, "I'm not trying to hear that. What you saying is vice versa." Tank never faced what he facing on June 15th either. In response to the former world champion statement, the Mayweather Promotion CEO aimed to provide a dose of reality through their tweet. Pound in fairness did recognize Frank Martin's talent as a boxer, however. He then added that the Ghost has yet to face a nightmare like Tank, negating that Martin won't succeed in dominating Davis. Ellerby tweeted, "He's a very good fighter, but man, Frank ain't dominating. If they think Tank is going to give rounds away, they are crazy. Every fight opponent is a different approach. One thing is for sure, he's never faced anything like what he's about to see on June 15th. He can't wait till next Saturday." Spence Jr. and Frank Martin share a history as trainees under Derek James's guidance, despite reports of a legal dispute involving Spence Jr. and the acclaimed coach. The situation hasn't affected the former world champion's perspective on his past stablemate. In an interview with Donny Boxing a few years back, Frank Martin expressed that Errol Spence Jr., known as The Truth, has consistently been a source of inspiration for him. As he prepares for his next bout, Frank Martin, accompanied by his trainer Derek James, pays a visit to Children's Health Hospital in Dallas to support the Derek James Family Foundation. Martin, initially seen as the underdog, is drawing inspiration from various people and causes in his life. Having never headlined a pay-per-view event before, Martin's recent rise to main event status followed his breakout performance against Michel Rivera in 2022, where he secured a unanimous decision victory over the lightweight contender. Martin said, "Everything that I'm working towards is a lot bigger than me. I do it for the kids, and I do it for my family and friends." Following his victory, Martin secured a narrow unanimous decision against Artem Haranian last July. Haranian is now set to compete against Shocker Stevenson on July 6. Although there were talks of Martin being Stevenson's opponent, the match didn't materialize, leaving Martin without a fight since then. Despite facing criticism, Martin stays resolute. He previously sparred with Davis, a notable topic during their spirited press conference. Martin now appears to adopt a mentor's perspective, aiming to inspire young people through his remarks about the upcoming bout. Martin said, "I know that I can inspire others through what I do in the ring, and that's why I'm putting everything I have into being at my best." On June 15th, as Martin prepared for this bout that would define his career, James also offered his viewpoint, highlighting his responsibility as an example. James said, "I understand how fortunate I am and the opportunities I have been given. I also understand my responsibility to the youth in my community. They inspire me to be my best, just like I hope I'm inspiring them." Moreover, Frank Martin is convinced he will pull off the upset. Martin stands on the brink of a monumental triumph, a triumph so colossal that its realization cannot be dismissed. Tank's absence from the ring has left him dormant, facing opponents who lack the refinement of Martin. The Martin that Errol Spence Jr. is pushing wants to ruin the celebration and make Tank Davis and his team regret selecting him for a voluntary defense. Tank and Martin are starting their fight promotion campaign a little late because there hasn't been any activity up until this week. Ideally, over the past month, they should have been actively engaging it. More interviews and leveraging social media to generate buzz akin to what we witnessed during the Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis bout last year. Ryan took the lead in stirring up excitement for the fight, resulting in impressive pay-per-view figures. Frank Martin recently said, "I see me being victorious, me going out and being me, and being who I am, not letting Tank's little distractions that he tries to throw fighters off with, not letting them get to me, just me going out and being who I am. I'm going to come out with my hand-raised." Tank typically refrains from engaging in mind games with his adversaries. However, Martin finds himself unwilling to tolerate even the slightest hint of manipulation. He's strictly focused on the task at hand and eager to step into the arena for a fierce showdown. Frank has bided his time, eagerly anticipating the chance to six for a world championship. Now, as the opportunity finally dawns, he's determined to seize it with everything he's got. Martin's string of victories against formidable opponents like Artem Harin and Michel Rivera has propelled him into contention for this bout. Martin, you guys can see an explosive, good fight, y'all. We'll see a new face in the 135 division come June 15th in honor of Junot. The World Boxing Council will defend its freedom belt in the bout between Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis. WBC President Mauricio Swan has stated that there will be no sanctioning fee for the recipient of the freedom belt in the upcoming fight. This is a positive development, as Tank had expressed reluctance to pay any such fees if they were demanded. Social media users are gleefully lambasting the WBC for offering their freedom belt, likening it to a mere participation award. The WBC freedom is viewed by some as a pointless bauble that detracts from the WBA title that is at stake in the match. They view it as a strategic move by the WBC, selecting a high-profile bout between Tank and Martin that will garner significant public attention, thereby benefiting the organization. It's noteworthy that neither fighter holds a WBC championship in this matchup, adding a layer of peculiarity to the situation. Meanwhile, Tank will defeat Frank, in the opinion of Mayweather Promotion CEO Leonard Ellerbe. He confidently asserted Frank Martin can't beat Tank Davis. None of those guys can beat Tank Davis. Frank's a good-ass fighter. He can't beat Tank. Though Pound knows this tune well, having seen the confidence of past lightweight contenders like Ryan Garcia, only to witness them stumble when it counts most in the ring. Yet, in a different interview, Pound lavished Frank Martin with praise, nearly ceremonially designating him as the upcoming challenger for Dan Davis. However, when questioned about the potential matchup, Burb's demeanor suddenly changed. He seemed uneasy, as if confronted by the relentless scrutiny of an interrogator from centuries past.
Pitbull's style, he fights one way. He fights one way. He's very aggressive. And Rolly and his trainer have been working on ways to counter that kind of stuff. And he's not going to just continually run up in there on Rolly.
Ellerbe showered Martin with compliments. He couldn't ignore the harsh reality. Martin lacks the ability to overshadow Tank. His narrow victory over a weaker opponent like Haratunen clearly shows he's not prepared to defeat Tank or other top 10 contenders. However, Pound acknowledged Frank Martin's talent, emphasizing his significant abilities in the boxing ring. When faced with criticisms about Martin's performance against Artem Harin, Ellerbe firmly stood by him. He refused to consider any excuses or doubts about Martin's abilities, stating that all fighters, including Martin, deserve acknowledgement for their talent and should be treated with respect. Pitbull style. He fights one way. He's very aggressive. And Rolly and his trainer have been working on ways to counter that kind of stuff. And he's not going to just continually run up in their own ROI. The power balance is evident. Tank is their main fin and cell contributor, and his team isn't ready to risk that by matching him against a strong opponent. However, fans are becoming wary of these unequal fights. They want to see Tank challenged by worthy adversaries. Despite this, Pound highlighted the talent of all fighters, refusing to diminish their skills. He praised Frank Martin as a dedicated and skilled boxer who consistently performs at his peak in the ring. However, Pound openly voiced his skepticism about Martin's prospects against Tank. He depicted Tank as a versatile fighter with a keen boxing intellect, capable of adjusting to any opponent's style. Despite acknowledging Martin's abilities, LBY couldn't help but eagerly anticipate Tank's upcoming fights.